EC2, right? EC2 is Elastic Cloud Compute. So Elastic Cloud Compute is, we can imagine that this is a computer, right? And we assigned operating system, on top of it a web server, right? Now, one thing was missed out from this discussion is VPC. What is VPC, Virtual Private Cloud? So once I create EC2 on lab 4, remember that for this EC2, we get an IP address, right? And we ran that IP address. But one thing was not explained clearly is that Amazon give us a virtual private cloud, in short VPC. So this VPC is given automatically by Amazon when we create an EC2, right? Now what is VPC? VPC is like a car parking, right? In which all the different car spots are there. So these are the free spots, right? The question is, what is this free spots? So I'm just writing it, free spots for resource, right? So one of the resources is EC2. And then in this lab, it was asked to attach one Elastic Block Store, right? EBS. It's a kind of hard drive. So when I add that, then actually what Amazon is doing, so this is Amazon, right?
Yep.
This is Amazon. So this person, he is getting a free parking spot and put a EBS, like the EBS is here, for example. And it is attached to this, okay? With the IP address. So every resource have an IP address, which means when I create an EC2, by default, Amazon is giving us two things. One is a VPC, and under VPC is a series of free spaces or IP addresses. So when I attach more resource on VPC, then all the IP will be used gradually, right? And the selection will be done by Amazon. Okay, so that was the main topic. So another topic was missed out. I mean, I just explained the thing that was discussed in the second half of last lab, which is a web server. Remember, web server. So I just pick to make it short, I can explain in this way. Suppose this is the EC2. So EC2 is like a kind of machine, right? So on top of EC2, we first installed a Linux, right? So this is the Linux, which is free tier system. And on top of it, we installed HTTPD, right? HTTPD is basically the web server. All good? Web server. So in this web server, we actually put index.html file using a command. Under the additional box, we put that command. So that was the index.html, right? So, and that was done. That was made basically, which means when we run our EC2, in the application level, at least this web server is running, and the file is there. Now we want to access that. So in order to access to this web server, so just to access, we need what? Security group, right? So we need security group. So security group for what? Security group on this machine, right? So this security group, if we look at the security group, it says that there is an inbound rule, right? Inbound rule. So on the inbound rule, we put HTTP and SSH, these two protocols. So HTTP is really important, and that was 80, right? Remember 80 port, and that was 22. So 80 is needed in order to access this file using a web browser. That's why these two we must include. If we include more, it doesn't harm. It's fine. But at least these two. So if we don't add that, then we cannot access our file through a web browser. Once we add that, then next step, what is the final step? So this is step 2. And that was step 1, right? And the final step is just open a browser and look at the public IP from the settings and put that in the browser, right? HTTP and that IP address, right? Exactly that IP address. Then it will give you that particular file. Make sense? This will be explained. So that was the explanation of the last lab. Last lab means week 4. So in week 5, what we need to do? We need to create our own VPC. And we'll do subnet. Additional thing, we'll discuss it later on. Okay, finish.